The grand chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with laughter. Representatives from over 200 advanced civilizations gathered in the massive crystal dome, pointing at the holographic display of Earth's newest spaceship fleet. The ships, bulky and practical in design, looked primitive compared to the sleek vessels of other species. "Look at those metal boxes," Admiral Green of the Human Space Force heard them whisper. He stood quietly at the podium, his weathered face hiding years of experience in space warfare. The Council had summoned Earth's representatives to discuss their application for full membership in the Galactic Alliance. "These vessels barely qualify as space-worthy," announced High Counselor Ross, his blue-tinted skin gleaming under the chamber lights. "The human ships lack the basic requirements for deep space travel. No quantum drives, no plasma shields, not even basic gravity manipulation." More laughter echoed through the chamber. Admiral Green exchanged glances with Captain Miller, his second-in-command. They had expected this reaction, but it still stung. "With all due respect," Admiral Green spoke, his voice steady and firm, "Earth's fleet has successfully defended our solar system for the past 50 years. Our ships may look simple, but they're effective." "Effective?" A delegate from the Centauri systems scoffed. "Your fastest ship takes 3 days to reach Mars. Our vessels can cross that distance in hours." The council members continued their mockery, but something caught Admiral Green's attention. On his personal device, a message flashed: "Emergency alert, Border Sector 7." As the council debated Earth's membership application, reports began flooding in. 3 advanced patrol ships had vanished near the outer rim. Then 5 more disappeared from Sector 9. Within hours, the number grew to 15 missing vessels. The laughter in the chamber died when High Counselor Ross received an urgent communication. His face paled as he read the report. 20 of our most advanced ships have gone silent. No distress signals, no debris, nothing. Admiral Green stood straighter, his expression unchanging. He knew something the Council didn't, something about Earth's primitive fleet that would soon change everything. The real test wasn't about speed or technology, it was about survival. As panic spread through the chamber, Admiral Green thought about the classified Project Darkstar back on Earth. Those bulky, human ships carried secrets that would shock the galaxy. But for now, he waited, knowing that sometimes the best strategy was to let your enemies underestimate you. The first part of humanity's greatest space adventure was about to unfold, and the Galactic Council would soon learn why it was dangerous to mock the ingenuity of the human race. Back on Earth's orbital command station, Admiral Green stood before a massive holographic display showing the rapidly evolving crisis. Red dots marked the locations of vanished alien ships, forming a pattern that only humans could recognize, a hunting pattern. "They're here," Captain Miller whispered, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The Ghost Fleet predictions were right. The Ghost Fleet wasn't just a theory anymore. 5 years ago, Earth's deep space sensors had detected something impossible, ships that didn't exist. They would appear for a fraction of a second, then vanish completely. The Galactic Council had dismissed the reports as sensor malfunctions, but humans knew better. They had been preparing ever since. "Begin Operation Shadow Box," Admiral Green commanded. Throughout the solar system, Earth's primitive ships began powering up their secret weapons, quantum phase shifters disguised as ordinary cargo holds. The Council's emergency session was in chaos. Another 30 ships lost. High Counselor Ross announced, his voice trembling. "Whatever is out there, it's immune to our best cloaking systems and shields." Admiral Green activated his secure channel to Earth's President Thompson. "Ma'am, requesting permission to reveal Project Darkstar." "Granted," came the immediate response. "Show them what humanity has been hiding." The Admiral returned to the Council chamber, where panic had fully set in. Species that had once mocked Earth's technology were now desperately seeking answers. "The threat you're facing," Admiral Green addressed the silent chamber, is something we discovered years ago. We call them phase hunters, beings that exist partially outside normal space. Your advanced shields are useless because they operate in the wrong dimension. Impossible, shouted a council member. No such beings exist in our records. Because your civilizations evolved differently than ours, Captain Miller explained. Humanity grew up fighting to survive. While you developed elegant solutions, we learned to think outside normal space itself. Admiral Green nodded to his tactical officer. On the main display, Earth's fleet began to transform. The bulky cargo sections split apart, revealing complex arrays of technology that the Council had never seen before. Those aren't cargo holds, Green continued. They're quantum phase matrices. Our ships look primitive because we hid our real technology inside what you expected to see. We learned long ago that sometimes the best place to hide is in plain sight. The Council watched in stunned silence as Earth's ships activated their phase shifters. The vessels seemed to flicker, existing in multiple dimensions at once. It was beautiful and terrifying, like watching solid metal turn to ghost while remaining perfectly real. We can track the phase hunters, Admiral Green announced. More importantly, we can fight them. But we'll need the Council's cooperation. Those missing ships and their crews might still be alive, trapped in phase space. High Counselor Ross, his earlier arrogance gone, stood slowly. You knew this threat existed, yet you waited until now to reveal your technology? We tried to warn you, Captain Miller responded. But you were too busy laughing at our primitive designs to listen. Sometimes, Counselor, the most advanced technology doesn't look advanced at all. As if to emphasize her words, another alert flashed across the chamber's displays. More ships had vanished, but this time, there was hope. Earth's fleet was moving into position, ready to demonstrate why underestimating humanity had been the Council's greatest mistake. The first battle against the phase hunters began in the darkness between Jupiter and Saturn. Earth's fleet moved in perfect formation, their hidden technology now fully activated. The ships pulsed with an eerie blue glow as they phased between dimensions. Contact in Sector 4, Captain Miller reported. The tactical display showed twisted shapes moving through space, the phase hunters. They looked like dark clouds made of sharp angles, existing in spaces that hurt the eyes to look at. Admiral Green watched as the first phase hunter attacked a human vessel. But instead of disappearing like the Council ships, the human craft shifted, matching the hunter's phase state. The two entities clashed in a spectacular display of multidimensional combat. All ships, execute Battle Plan Delta, Green commanded. The fleet split into 3 groups, using formations that seemed chaotic to the watching Council members but followed a careful human logic. They weren't just fighting in space, they were fighting in phase space, where normal tactics meant nothing. Back in the Council chamber, the alien representatives watched in amazement. The human ships they had mocked now moved like dancers through impossible spaces, engaging enemies that most species couldn't even perceive properly. Incredible, High Counselor Ross whispered. Each ship is generating its own phase bubble. They're not just matching the hunter's dimension, they're creating safe zones in phase space. The battle intensified. A phase hunter tried to engulf one of Earth's smaller ships, but the vessel's quantum matrices flared. The hunter recoiled, its strange geometry disrupted by human technology. For the first time in recorded history, the phase hunters were meeting resistance. "We found them." Captain Miller's voice cut through the tension. Council ships detected in phase space, crews still alive. The Council erupted in chaos. The missing ships hadn't been destroyed, they had been pulled into another dimension, their crews trapped but surviving. The phase hunters hadn't been hunting for destruction, but for collection. "Begin rescue operations," Admiral Green ordered. Earth's ships formed new patterns, creating stable corridors through phase space. Through these safe passages, the trapped Council vessels could be guided back to normal space. The first rescued ship materialized near Jupiter's orbit. Its crew was shaken but alive, their advanced technology useless against a threat they hadn't been prepared to face. More ships followed, each one proving that humanity's primitive approach had saved lives that the most sophisticated alien technology couldn't. "This is why we built our ships this way," Admiral Green explained to the stunned Council. "We knew conventional technology wouldn't work against unconventional threats. While you focused on perfection, we focused on adaptation." The phase hunters, realizing their prey could now fight back, began to retreat. But they didn't flee in panic, they moved with purpose, as if following a plan. Admiral Green recognized the pattern from years of studying their behavior. "They're not running away," he announced grimly. "They're regrouping. This was just their first wave, a test of our capabilities." Captain Miller's console lit up with new data. "Sir, we're detecting phase disturbances across 3 sectors. Massive ones. Whatever the hunters are planning, it's bigger than anything we've seen before." The Council members, watching the rescue of their ships, finally understood why humans had hidden their true capabilities. It hadn't been about deception, it had been about survival. Earth had known that showing their hand too early would have warned the phase hunters before humanity was ready. As the last Council ship was rescued, Admiral Green received a priority message from Earth. The deep space sensors had detected something approaching, something that made the phase hunters they just fought look like scouts. The real war was about to begin, and humanity's hidden strengths would be tested like never before. Deep within Earth's secret military base beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Green stood before the combined forces of humanity and the Galactic Council. The massive underground chamber, built to withstand dimensional shifts, housed representatives from both Earth and alien civilizations. "What we're about to show you," he began, "is why we kept Project Darkstar hidden for so long." The holographic display activated, showing a massive object moving through phase space. It dwarfed everything they'd encountered before, a structure larger than Earth's moon. "We call it the Hive ship," Captain Miller explained, pointing to the strange geometries of the approaching vessel. "It's the source of all phase hunters we've encountered. Our deep space probes detected it 3 years ago, but we needed time to prepare." The Council members watched in silence as the briefing continued. The Hive ship wasn't just a vessel, it was a mobile dimension, a space between spaces that housed millions of phase hunters. Its arrival would tear reality itself apart. "That's why we built our fleet the way we did," Admiral Green continued. "Each ship isn't just a weapon, it's part of a larger plan. Together, they form a dimensional web that can trap the Hive ship in normal space." President Thompson's hologram appeared in the chamber. "We're activating Operation Steel Web. All Earth ships will combine their phase matrices to create a containment field. But we need the Council's help." High Counselor Ross, who had once mocked Earth's technology, now stood in support. "Whatever you need, Earth has the full backing of the Galactic Council." The plan was ambitious. Earth's ships would form a massive geometric pattern around the solar system, their phase technology linked together. The Council's more advanced vessels would provide power and support, their energy systems feeding into the human phase matrices. "The Hive ship will arrive in 48 hours, Captain Miller announced. "All ships, move to your designated positions. This is what we've been preparing for." As the combined fleet moved into position, Admiral Green revealed humanity's final secret. Our ships weren't just built to fight phase hunters. They were built to become something bigger. At his command, the human vessels began to change. The primitive hulls split apart, revealing intricate networks of quantum technology. Each ship extended massive energy arrays, connecting to its neighbors. The fleet wasn't just a group of ships anymore, it was transforming into a single, massive device. "Humanity's greatest strength," Admiral Green explained, "isn't our technology. It's our ability to work together, to sacrifice individual power for collective strength. Each of our ships gave up speed and conventional weapons to carry a piece of this puzzle. The Council watched in awe as the human fleet formed a vast web of energy and phase technology. The ships they had laughed at were now nodes in a structure that defied conventional physics, ready to catch something that shouldn't exist. Deep space sensors detected the Hive ship accelerating. It had sensed the trap but wasn't retreating. Instead, it was attacking head-on, confident in its superior size and power. "They're doing exactly what we predicted," Captain Miller said. "Phase hunters can't comprehend sacrifice. They don't understand why we would build ships that are weaker alone but stronger together." Admiral Green looked at the countdown timer. In less than 2 days, humanity would either prove that their approach to space warfare was right, or everything would be lost. The phase hunters had evolved to prey on advanced civilizations that relied on individual power. They had never faced a species that had turned unity itself into a weapon. As the massive Hive ship approached, humanity prepared to demonstrate why sometimes the best technology isn't about being the most advanced, it's about being the most adaptable. The Hive ship emerged from phase space like a tear in reality itself. Its massive form distorted the space around it, creating waves of dimensional energy that made normal sensors useless. But humanity was ready. "All ships, activate phase sync," Admiral Green commanded from the control center. Across the solar system, Earth's fleet pulsed with energy. The web of ships glowed brighter, each vessel contributing its power to the network. The Council ships, positioned behind the human fleet, channeled their advanced energy systems into the network. High Counselor Ross watched from his flagship as reality itself seemed to bend around the human formation. "Multiple hunter swarms deploying from the Hive ship," Captain Miller reported. Thousands of phase hunters poured out, their twisted forms filling space like a dark cloud. But instead of attacking individual ships, they slammed against the energy web created by the human fleet. "They're testing our defenses," Admiral Green observed. "Strengthen grid sections 7 through 12. The ships in those sections increased power to their phase matrices, reinforcing the weak points the hunters had found. The Hive ship's response was immediate and devastating. It released a pulse of energy that distorted spacetime itself. Several Council ships that weren't properly shielded began to phase shift uncontrollably. "Hold formation." Admiral Green's voice cut through the chaos. "This is what we prepared for. Activate the resonance sequence." Earth's ships began to pulse in a complex pattern. Each ship's phase matrix vibrated at a specific frequency, creating a cascade effect through the entire network. The dimensional distortions from the Hive ship started to stabilize. "It's working," Captain Miller announced. "The resonance is forcing them to stay in normal space. They can't phase shift." But the Hive ship wasn't defeated. Unable to retreat into phase space, it revealed its true form, a massive biological structure that dwarfed anything humanity had ever seen. Crystalline growths along its surface began to glow with terrible purpose. Energy spike detected. Captain Miller's warning came just as the Hive ship fired. A beam of pure dimensional energy struck the human fleet's network. Ships groaned under the strain, their hulls stretching as reality warped around them. "Divert all power to the containment field," Admiral Green ordered. The human ship's lights dimmed as they channeled everything they had into maintaining the dimensional web. Council vessels added their power, their advanced engines pushing to their limits. President Thompson's voice came through the command channel. "Admiral, Earth's surface sensors are detecting dimensional fractures. If that ship breaks free, it'll tear the planet apart." The Hive ship pulsed again, stronger this time. 3 human ships exploded, their phase matrices overloading. Gaps appeared in the containment web, but neighboring vessels quickly adjusted their positions to compensate. "We're losing power in sections 3 and 4, Captain Miller reported. "The phase matrices can't take much more of this." Admiral Green watched as his fleet struggled against the impossible force of the Hive ship. Everything they had planned, every secret they had kept, led to this moment. But they needed something more. "Captain," he said quietly, "activate Protocol Omega." Captain Miller's eyes widened. "Sir, that's untested." The simulations showed a 30% chance of success. "And a 70% chance it destroys us all," Green finished. "But if we do nothing, that ship will tear apart every inhabited world in the galaxy. Sometimes the only way to win is to risk everything." As the Hive ship prepared another attack, humanity's final gambit was about to begin. The phase hunters had evolved to prey on the strong, but they had never faced an enemy willing to sacrifice everything to save others. Protocol Omega wasn't just a desperate plan, it was the real reason humanity had built their ships to look primitive. As Admiral Green gave the command, the true nature of Earth's fleet began to reveal itself. "All ships, initiate quantum fold," he ordered. The remaining vessels in the fleet started a transformation that defied conventional physics. Their outer hulls, which the Council had mocked as primitive, began to fold inward, creating impossible geometries. "Sir," Captain Miller reported, "quantum fold at 30%. The Council ships are in position to support the energy transfer." High Counselor Ross watched in amazement as the human fleet's true purpose became clear. Those weren't just ships connecting into a web, they were pieces of a massive quantum computer, designed to calculate and manipulate the fabric of spacetime itself. The outer hulls weren't armor, Admiral Green explained to the stunned Council members. They were quantum processing units disguised as simple metal. Each ship carries a piece of the largest computer ever built by human hands. The Hive ship sensed the change. It launched another wave of phase hunters, desperately trying to break the containment field before Protocol Omega could complete. But it was too late. "Quantum fold at 60%, Miller announced. The human ships had completely transformed now, their structures existing in multiple dimensions at once. Energy flowed between them in patterns that made Council scientists question everything they knew about physics. "What you're seeing," Admiral Green said, "is humanity's greatest gamble. We're not just trying to trap the Hive ship, we're going to calculate its dimensional frequency and lock it into a single reality." The Hive ship struck again, its energy beam even more powerful than before. 2 more human ships were destroyed, their crews sacrificing themselves to maintain the integrity of the quantum computer network. "Quantum fold at 80%, Miller called out. "Sir, the Hive ship is preparing for another attack. Our simulations show we won't survive another direct hit." Admiral Green stood firm. "Redirect all power from life support. Every ounce of energy goes to completing the fold." Across the fleet, ship interiors went dark as every bit of power was channeled into Protocol Omega. Crew members donned emergency suits, knowing their survival depended on completing the calculation before their oxygen ran out. "Remarkable," High Counselor Ross whispered. "All this time, we thought humans were technologically inferior. But you weren't building warships at all, you were building components of a weapon that could only work if everyone thought it was harmless." The Hive ship's surface blazed with energy as it prepared its final attack. But in that moment, Captain Miller's voice rang out, "Quantum fold complete. Beginning final calculation." The transformed human fleet, now a vast quantum computer spanning the space between planets, began its work. It wasn't just calculating numbers, it was calculating reality itself, searching for the exact frequency that would lock the Hive ship into normal space permanently. "We have one shot at this," Admiral Green announced to all ships. "The calculation will take everything we have. If we succeed, the Hive ship will be trapped forever. If we fail..." He didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone knew the stakes. The phase hunters had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, believing their ability to shift between dimensions made them invincible. But they had never faced an enemy who had turned mathematics itself into a weapon. As the quantum computer reached its final calculations, the Hive ship launched its attack. The beam of dimensional energy streaked toward Earth's fleet, carrying enough power to tear apart the fabric of spacetime. The future of humanity, and the entire galaxy, would be decided in the next few seconds. Time seemed to slow as the Hive ship's energy beam approached Earth's transformed fleet. The quantum computer, spread across hundreds of ships, completed its final calculations just as the attack was about to hit. Solution found. Captain Miller's voice carried a note of triumph. Executing dimensional lock now. Admiral Green gave his final order: all ships, channel everything into the quantum matrix. Whatever happens, it's been an honor. The human fleet pulsed with blinding light as it implemented the calculated solution. The energy beam from the Hive ship struck at the exact same moment, but instead of destroying the fleet, something extraordinary happened. The beam hit a precise point in spacetime that the quantum computer had calculated. The energy scattered across the fleet's network, creating a cascade of dimensional reactions. Reality itself seemed to crystallize around the Hive ship. "It's working!" Miller shouted. "The dimensional frequencies are aligning. The Hive ship is being forced into normal space." The massive alien vessel writhed as it was dragged fully into one dimension for the first time in its existence. Its phase hunters, cut off from their multidimensional abilities, began to dissolve into normal space. High Counselor Ross stared in awe at his sensors. The human fleet, they're not just locking the Hive ship in place. They're rewriting the laws of physics in this entire sector of space. He was right. The quantum computer wasn't just trapping the Hive ship, it was changing the fundamental rules of reality in this region of space. Phase shifting became impossible within the affected zone. The Hive ship, realizing its fate, made one last desperate attempt to escape. But the laws of physics themselves had been turned against it. Its massive form began to break apart, unable to maintain its impossible structure in normal space. "All Council ships, open fire," Admiral Green commanded. The advanced weapons of the alien vessels, no longer hindered by the phase hunters' dimensional shifting, struck true. The Hive ship's outer shell began to crack. President Thompson's voice came through the command channel: "Admiral, Earth sensors confirm the dimensional lock is permanent." The calculations worked perfectly. The Hive ship's destruction was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. As it broke apart, there was no explosion. Instead, the massive vessel simply collapsed into normal space, its pieces transforming into harmless matter. In the aftermath, the human fleet began powering down their quantum systems. Ships transformed back to their original shapes, though many were damaged beyond repair. The crews, exhausted but alive, had succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. "This," Admiral Green addressed the Council, "is why we appeared primitive. Our ships had to look harmless. The Hive ship had to believe it was invincible, right until the moment we sprung our trap." High Counselor Ross approached Admiral Green on the command deck. "In all my years serving the Council, I've never seen anything like this. We owe humanity more than just an apology, we owe you our lives." The Council voted unanimously to grant Earth full membership, with additional honors for their role in defeating the galaxy's greatest threat. But more importantly, they had learned a crucial lesson about judging other civilizations. Captain Miller, reviewing the battle data, smiled. "You know what's ironic? If they hadn't mocked our ships, if they hadn't underestimated us completely, this plan might never have worked." Admiral Green nodded, looking out at the fleet that had saved the galaxy. Sometimes the greatest strength lies in being underestimated. Humanity didn't just build better ships, we built a better strategy. As the combined fleets headed home, the region of space where the Hive ship had been destroyed remained changed forever. The humans had created a permanent safe zone where no phase hunter could ever exist again. The galaxy would remember this day not just as a victory, but as the moment they learn that true advancement isn't always about having the most impressive technology, sometimes it's about having the wisdom to hide your strength until the perfect moment.